All right, guys, today I want to get started on a small collaboration project where I'm working with Quinn Dunkey over at blondiehacks.com, and she's also on YouTube there under Blondie Hacks. You can check out her channel. And this has started several months back, so I got to apologize to Quinn for taking so much time to get to this. But we're finally going to get started on it. And this is a project that was completely her idea that she wanted to do, and what she is calling this is the Machinist relay. And the idea behind it is she started it and she made a little widget, and it can be anything. So she just machined a part completely out of just some raw stock, and then she sent that to me, and then I'm going to machine something for that, or modify it, or do anything that I want to do to add to that. And then from there, I'm going to send it to the next person. They're going to add to it, modify it, whatever they want to do, and then it's going to keep going down the line. And who knows what this thing is going to end up looking like or functioning like, or in the end what it's going to be. So that's kind of the premise behind what this is. So it's just a fun project where different creators can work together to work on the same project. So this was the box that Quinn had boxed this up in. And so there it is. Welcome to the Machinist relay, and there's her signature. So I'll have to put my signature on there, the A-bomb signature. All right, and then there's one of her stickers. So be sure to check her out, blondiehacks.com, and on YouTube and Instagram as well. She's always sharing her fun little projects there that she's getting into. So this is the piece that she made. I shared this some time back on SNS. And so she's got a piece of brass that she milled, and then she's got a piece of steel that she milled to fit into this channel. And so it simply hinges and then fits back down. It's got a magnet in there so that it fits back in there like that. So just a simple piece. There's no rhyme or reason as to what it is or what it does. So this could be modified to do anything or fit anything. So what I've been trying to think of something creative, what I want to do to this. Okay, so I've got an idea. Let me go ahead and move the box down a little bit right here. What I was thinking that I'd like to do to this piece right here is add a little bit of A-bomb weight to this. So how about we make a base plate for this to mount to? All right, so I've got this piece of 1-inch thick steel right here. This was a piece of flame cut 1-inch thick. It's probably 836 steel flat plate, just a hot roll plate. It was flame cut on one side and it was bandsaw cut on the other. That is the factory edge right there where it was sheared off. And why don't we make a base plate out of this that this piece will mount to? We'll probably mount it to the edge so that you can still access the steel piece where you can flip it up. And then that'll provide a nice platform for other people after me to add to and modify it, and do whatever they want to do. Plus, it's going to add some weight there to it. That's a pretty hefty piece of steel right there. So what I would like to do is use the G&E shaper for this project and shape this in nice and pretty, nice, square, and flat. And maybe we'll go in there after that and mill a channel using the milling machine that will fit in. Possibly go in here and underneath this, maybe we'll drill this so that we can use a flathead bolt and actually bolt it down to this plate in the channel. So that's just some ideas that I've been kind of coming up with right there. But I'd like to use the G&E shaper for this project. So let's go ahead and get down there and start squaring this plate up. So first thing we did, went over to the welding area and just dressed any of the high spots with the angle grinder and deburred the edges there as well. But there was a few dings there where it's been hit or things have been dropped on or whatever that I didn't want the vise kind of pressing into. All right, little high spot right there. And I wanted to kind of give you overall dimensions of what this plate is. So as I said, it's 1-inch thick. It's a 1-inch thick plate. Our width is approximately 7 1/8 inches wide. Our length is approximately 9 1/16. So we're just going to clean this thing up to whatever. We may make it a nominal. We'll see what we clean up at. All right. I think what we'll start with, I think we'll put this factory sheared edge down, since it's pretty well going to be a straight edge since it was sheared off, and this edge is flame cut, so it looks like it was a hand cut, so it's not going to be square or straight in any way. You can kind of see there looking at it that way. So we'll probably just set it down. I've already wiped this out very clean, the vise. We'll just set it down, and we'll start by cleaning up this edge here. Once we get this one cleaned, then we'll flip it over and square the other side up with this one here. So I think we'll use this tool bit here. This is the one that I used the last time whenever we were using that, we had that big test piece of material in here, about 22-inch length of cut. This is a piece of Rex 95 tool steel, and this, I haven't reground it yet. This is the edge that I ground, and it did a really good job cleaning that piece of steel up, which is the same material as this, I believe. And that's just the heat and the cutting oil on there, but it's still got a really good edge. But I'm going to touch this up so we'll have a fresh start, and we'll use that to clean our plate up with. Touching the top of the tool there. Clean the sides up. So we'll have to hit the corner and then re-hone it. All right, now we'll go over to the bench stone and just hone it out. I believe I found the source for this piece of steel because I couldn't remember where this come from. And when I was over there grinding just a minute ago, I saw this note that a viewer had given me by the name of Ken, and I forgot about it, but I had it over there in the window, and it's the same steel, same shape and cut and everything as this piece right here. And I believe that Ken, whenever he sent me this handwritten note on this piece of steel, that he sent this piece here, and even in the note. So again, sorry if I couldn't find a piece of paper, but you can use the notepad if needed. They were not needed at work, and it fits into A-bomb status. So he put they as in, you know, more than one. But I forgot about this. This was several years ago too, that Ken had sent me this, and he in the note here, he sent an auto darkening lens and a Sure Shot. I believe that was the one that he marked for WD-40, and some other things that he had written on there also. So I thought that was pretty neat, you know, and I put it up in the window there, and I've just always been holding on to it. I use it for the GoPro camera. I set the Nogue on there whenever I'm over there holding the camera for grinding and things like that. So I saw it, I'm like, that's the same piece of steel that we're about to shape up. So I wanted to get that on video just to kind of document it. So you can see right there our flame cut edge, same width. So Ken, if you're still watching, I don't recall what your last name is. It just says Ken R. So if you're still watching, we're gonna use up this piece of steel for the Machinist relay project. All right, very cool. Just gonna hone a radius there where I touch the corner on the grinder. Just make a nice radius right there. Using the medium coarseness stone here, kind of break those sharp corners off. All right, that's looking pretty good. So now we'll go back to the fine stone right there. I'll just keep working that a little bit, and then we'll work the side and the top some as well. You want to hone your edge there to kind of get rid of, it's the same principle as wet sanding a paint job on an automobile. You know, the finer grit that you go, the more scratches that you get out, and the better finish that you get overall. Same thing applies to your high-speed steel tool bits whenever you grind them. That's what honing does. It gets rid of the grinding marks on the edge. It depends on if you're trying to finish or if you're just rough turning. If you're just rough turning something, honing a tool bit doesn't really matter. Like right now, this really doesn't matter. If I want to go over there and just rough those flame cut edges, because I'm probably going to have to do this again, but I enjoy going through the process and sharing with you what it is I do with these tool bits each time anyway, just to kind of share with you, you know, the process. So that's looking really nice right there anyway, a nice honed edge. And I got one more that we'll go over there. I'll show you. Let me grab it. All right, so this is another one I use, made by Easy Lap. This is a diamond lap right there. And I don't recall what the exact grit is on this. I apologize. I want to say it's 1,000 and then 1,500. This is actually supposed to be white, but that's just from using it right there. And you can clean that off. You can use some WD-40 and rub it and clean that off there. But I'll usually start with this side right there, the diamond side, and just hand work it. Just hand work it around the radius, just like that. Just keeping it flat. And it really polishes that edge right there. And then you can flip it over there to the 1,500 side, I believe it is. And that's kind of like putting that final buff on your clear coat whenever you're sanding it. And you're using that, you know, I guess 1,500 grit or polishing compound. It's kind of I'm using that as like a comparison so that people kind of understand what it is that you're doing. You're really polishing it out and getting the fine scratches out and making it very smooth, a nice smooth transaction all the way around that curve of that hone. So maybe you can see the shininess as I'm moving it around in the light right there. So you can also take and go along the edge, just hold it flat, and it's going to touch here and here, because the way that grinding wheel, it's concave there, so you're only going to be touching on 2 spots there. But if you do that, you're going to be rubbing away any of the valleys from the grinding wheel whenever you grind that edge. And if you look very closely, you'll see that cutting edge right there is very nice and smooth, and that will improve your cut and your chip and your finish whenever you're using this tool. It's not just for a shaper. This is for your lathe, or if you're using this as a tool bit in the milling machine in some way, maybe like a fly cutter or a boring bar, you know, a boring head and things like that as well. Okay, so you can go across the top as well. Same thing. You're going to be touching on 2 points, this point and this point right there, and just polish it out. Remove those little valleys from the grinding wheel and make a nice smooth edge for the cutting edge of the tool bit right there. So this tool is ready to use, so we'll go to the shaper. I'll get it set up for a cut, and we'll start making a cut there on that plate. I want to give a quick demonstration of the clapper box and see if I can avoid a couple of the comments about if you swing your clapper box the other way, your tool will clear the workpiece. In this video anyway, because every time I show this, I get 2 or 3 guys that will say that if you swing your clapper box the other way, the tool bit will clear the workpiece, when they're the ones that's wrong actually. So it always looks odd because I have the tool kicked at this angle here because I'm giving the tool a lead angle on the cut. So the workpiece is going to be feeding that way, so I want a lead angle on this cutting edge right there. All right, So the clapper box is swung to the right side, and so when the tool retracts back, it's going to kick up like this, right? And with the clapper box swung to the right side, the direction you're looking at, follow the arc of the tool bit as I pick up on the clapper box. You see it swinging to the right? That means it's going to clear the workpiece, right? I hope that those guys understand that now. Obviously, it's not going to pick up that far whenever you're having to clear it. It's only just coming up, all right? And it's not going to dull. I always get a bunch of guys that ask this. You know, this machine is designed this way. The old man designed this machine to work this way. It's not dulling. It's not going to dull this tool bit right there. If the tool bit doesn't get dull making a cut on the front, you're not going to dull it coming back on that side right there. It's just skating along the back edge of this right there. It's not going to dull it. So anyway, we've got our clapper box swung to the right. Our tool bit is going to clear to the right. So if we loosen this nut and swung the clapper box to the left, when we do this, it's going to swing that way into the cut. So just a demonstration that we have it set up correctly. All right, here we go. We've got it touched off there on that corner. I've gone down 1/8 of an inch, and we're just going to do a 20,000 step over. All right, and then we'll run it at 41 strokes a minute. So that's going to be approximately 100 feet per minute. We'll see how that does. You can see that cut did not take long at all to clean that up, and it left a nice finish on there. It's nice and smooth. It doesn't have any fuzzies or anything on there. You can see the tool marks from the step over, but it's smooth. It's not rough at all, and that's definitely because we got a good hone on the tool bit there. So I definitely want to try a finish pass across there as well, though. So we're just gonna go down like say 10,000ths and make another pass and make that it'll even out the ends there where it comes out on the ends. Say like right here, you can see it always changes on the ends, on the start and the end. So having a very small light cut should make it even from end to end there. So just a finish pass, 10,000 step, with plenty of cutting oil to make a nice smooth cut across there. There's our finished cut. Feels good. It'll look good too once we clean that off. That's going to be great. All right, so we'll get it out of there. We'll deburr it good. You see that sharp edge there. Deburr it, flip it over, and we'll do the other side. I measured the height there with my scale, and it looks like it's right at 6 7/8. So I've got my depth mic. Let's go ahead and measure it to the bottom of the vise. I already wiped that off, and let's see if it's a little over nominal where I can make a finished cut. 892. So we got a little bit we can take off that to bring it down to an even 6.875. Let's put our cutting oil on there, get a good finish on this side, and get it finished up here. We got two sides of our plate cut now, and so what I want to do, I want to go ahead and remove the original vise, and we're going to put our new TMX 8-inch machine vise on the shaper, put it to use, and we're going to use our automatic tool head on the shaper and cut in both sides, and then surface both top and bottom with our shear tool. So let's get the new vise set up. I wanted to check to see how parallel the bed of the vise was to the shaper table, and it is spot on. It's been a few months, probably 2 or 3 months. I spent some time getting the other vise, the factory vise, trammed in nice and flat, and apparently I had it dead on, and so that's telling me that this vise is good in parallel, just like the specs that they give me when they inspected it. Now that is a 1000 resolution indicator, and if I get in here very close and look at it, I probably see 2/1000 of a thousandth movement on that needle. Now I'll get you in there tight so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, I got this. These are some of my favorite parallels that I always use. I want to just touch them up on my precision flat stone right here. So this is one of the precision ground flat stones that my friend Lance Baltzy had made for me. They come in pairs. I just grabbed one of them out of the drawer there, and this is another good example of just another nice use for one of these precision stones. This is just some sandpaper I've got taped down to my lap-in plate, and I just want to make sure there's no dings or high spots on the parallels there, because I'm going to use a stack up of a couple of these probably in the new vise. And it's all I'm doing is just knocking off any high spot, so I can see that it's touching all the way down. Looking pretty good there. And you can feel it that it feels good there as well. I can tell there's on that one there, there was a spot somewhere where it was touching a little bit more than the others. Once you rub it a little bit, it usually knocks it down pretty quick. And of course, if you got any real high spot, you've got your more coarse side there that you can go with. All right. And then last pair right here. These are some shop-made parallels. W.E. Jones is the name that's stamped into these parallels. There were some that came in a toolbox that my dad acquired many years ago. I don't know if, I'm assuming that it was one of those boxes that he bought. I believe it was a toolbox that he bought from somebody a long time ago. Somebody come in with their box, and that happened several times throughout the years. Somebody would come in with their tools. You know, somebody would retire. We have a lot of people that move to the Gulf Coast that, you know, from the north that would retire, and they would come down here with some of their machinist tools, and they wouldn't need them anymore, and they would just try to sell them. And so sometimes those guys would just walk into a random machine shop and offer them up for sale. I think those days are gone now with the internet. Doesn't really happen anymore that I know of. So these were made by W.E. Jones, and they have been excellent parallels. I like the way he put the little valley in between there so you can grab them with your fingers. So, all right, we got these flattened out. Just wanted to make sure there was no burrs sticking up anywhere on them. All right, we got our stack up the way I want it. We got plate hanging out both sides there, so I'm going to face both sides with this setup. All right, so this is our first clamp with the new vise there. Should be all we need. And we just want to set it on the parallels there. I've had guys ask me this, so I'll mention it again. You want to tap your workpiece down. You're not hammering it down. You're just tapping it and moving it, you know, not even a thousandth of an inch at that. Just setting it so that the parallels, you know, they're touching, but they're sliding. So there, it's not moving. Not moving. See, you're just setting it. That's all you want to do. Now, granted, this is not completely flat plate, so you're going to have hills and valleys in there because that's a mill-scaled surface on there. So we've got it flat, completely down as far as we can on that surface. We'll plane this side and we'll flip it over, and we'll have a good flat surface there to tap it down on.